We're all consumers, right? We all shop. We buy clothes, we buy cars, we buy food, we buy houses, we buy everything, right? And whatever it is that we're buying, think about it, right? Whether it's the clothes that you wear or the food that you eat or the restaurants that you support, think about it.
It is unequivocal that human activities are responsible for climate change.
A new report has highlighted the critical role that soil plays in climate change. There's more carbon stored in soil than in all the world's trees, and it's being released into the atmosphere by deforestation and poor farming.
More than half of the world's marine population, a species may be on the brink of extinction.
Greenwash gone mad.
American shopping habits are causing devastating impacts across the globe. Millions of discarded garments make their way overseas.
You get it. You know, time is really running out. You have to act now.
I'm Lily Cameron. I'm the author of Simply Sustainable and the founder of Wild Minimalists and the mom of 2 wonderful boys.
I'm Megan Edelman, and I'm co-founder of Navitas Organics.
My name is Kenny Belov, and I am the co-owner of Fish Restaurant in Sausalito, California, and also the co-owner of 2x Seafood Company in San Francisco, California.
Wild Minimalists is a one-stop shop with plastic-free alternatives to help you reconfigure your home and lifestyle and to help you reduce waste. You have the convenience of these products being shipped to your home, but you can feel good about your purchase and you don't create a bunch of waste in the process. Simply Sustainable is a resource for people who want to reduce waste, but they don't really know where to start. So I try to provide a super approachable, simple guide. You can go room by room in your house. You can start in one area of your lifestyle. And it's just about making low-waste living really fun and beautiful and doing it in a way that works for your lifestyle. And I think that when people from the outside look at this lifestyle, they think, oh, I have to be able to fit all of my waste into a mason jar to participate in this.
This is all of my trash from the past 5 years.
I really wanted to create something for people who want to start and participate in this lifestyle, to show them that it isn't an all or nothing thing, that you can start small and celebrate those small wins, and that leads to a bigger impact. I had to reconfigure the way that I was approaching, being a consumer. So now when I make a purchase, I think, do I really need this product? What is it made out of? Where did it come from? Can I get it locally? Can I find an alternative to this product? And what's going to happen to it at the end of its life?
Navitas is a organic superfood company. Its mission is to create a healthier world through plant-based lifestyles and regenerative organic agriculture. Essentially, we sell foods that help both people and planet be healthier and sort of tread lightly on the planet. And my husband and I in high school and in college were deadheads and we were hippies, and there was a propensity at that time towards vegetarian diets. A friend of ours approached Zach in a transitionary period of ours and basically asked if we wanted to start importing maca from Peru, which is a Peruvian root vegetable, and that was what started it all. So we started to kind of realize that there was a market for bringing traditional foods that had been used in ancient cultures around the world that had been known for their health properties into the United States. Regenerative agriculture is a new paradigm, or an old paradigm actually, of cultivating food that fully maximizes the health of the soil, the health of the environment and the ecosystem through biodiversity. So it's the antithesis of our industrialized agriculture machine. No synthetic chemicals, fertilizers, low-till disturbance of the soil so that you can ensure like most microorganisms that exist there that then feed the plant has the most ability to absorb the nutrients in the soil, and the cycle goes on. It also stores more carbon. Regenerative organic agriculture is a return to sort of those traditional agricultural methods that have kind of been lost in the last 40, 50 years. There's a lot of companies in the natural and organic food space that are moving towards regenerative. Companies like Dr. Bronner's and Guayaki and Patagonia obviously is a big proponent of regenerative agriculture. If you just search the word regenerative, it's coming up more and more, which never happened like 3 or 4 years ago. So it's definitely gaining momentum.
Fish restaurant opened in 2004, and we were the first restaurant that Monterey Bay Aquarium looked at as being a restaurant solely dedicated to sustainable seafood. 4 years later, after running fish from 2004 to 2008, I realized that a lot of the seafood that I was being sold from the vendors that were available to me in San Francisco were actually not telling me the truth and telling me what I wanted to hear. We realized that the only way to fix this problem, the only way to truly get the answers that we were looking for, was to become wholesale, to start a wholesale company. That's where the model of 2x was born. You own a restaurant and you want good quality fish, and you own a restaurant and you want good quality fish. Let me tell you what I'm working on. And the partnership started to unfold. And it was, at first, it was me in a sedan with a bunch of fish in the back seat, driving all over San Francisco, dropping off little bits of fish to my friends who owned restaurants. And then that grew to vans and trucks and employees and a big warehouse and a lot more work. Sustainable fishing has changed. I believe that in 2004, sustainable fishing meant that you had a gear method that made sure it left enough fish for tomorrow, versus fishing that just clear cut, took everything in between, didn't have any regard to species, it just took everything. The reality is that the word sustainable would now start to be misused. And any group that wanted to use it could just stick it on the side of their vans, put it on their logos, and now they're a sustainable company. So I started to use the word less, and I started to use the word renewable.
Regenerative is a replacement word for sustainable.
Because to me, the word renewable kind of demands accountability from sustainability.
Because it's not actually good enough to prevent like major climate catastrophe by just simply sustaining our resources. So regenerative is like a pushback to that. Essentially, no, we don't need to just sustain what we have. In fact, that won't actually get us to avoid the climate crisis, but I mean, we're already in it. So how do we then put back all the resources that we basically have like extracted from our earth, right?
If something is sustainable today, it doesn't mean that it's going to be sustainable tomorrow. The word has changed, the word has evolved, we still use it, I still find myself saying it, but I realize that I've now lumped myself in with everybody else that is allowed to use that word without any accountability. The Monterey Bay Aquarium red, yellow, green seafood guidance chart. It's basically a stoplight style formula that says if you're on the green list, that means good to go, eat away. If you're on the yellow list, that list pre-2006 was called proceed with caution. You want to think about these items. They're not 100% okay, they're not 100% bad. It's something we should be looking at. Proceed with caution. And then red was avoid. In 2006, the restaurant community were frustrated that the majority of their menu was coming from this place called Proceed with Caution. And customers like ourselves, because at the end of the day we're all consumers, were coming into these restaurants and we were holding our little card and we were going, this is so bad, everything you have is Proceed with Caution, I don't want to eat this. So Monterey Bay Aquarium changed the name from Proceed with Caution to Good Alternatives. but nothing changed except for the name. There was an accident up ahead, and it was the collapse of our ocean. But instead of worrying about it and making all of us in the restaurant community actually accountable for what we put on our menus, we decided to change the name.
You know, we definitely need the government involved. We need the policies in place. We need, you know, it to be incentivized. We need businesses to be held accountable.
I think B Corps, I think 1%, I think all of that is wonderful and gets us talking about good, positive things.
Navitas is a B Corp. That's one big thing that we are a proud distinction that we have, which is a measure of your social and environmental impact. And so that really is across like your entire business. It comes down to your value chain, not just where you source your products, but like how you run your business.
I would say an ethical business is really trying to minimize their impact on people, the environment, and animals. And they're really looking at each aspect of their business. So everything from labor practices to how is it packaged and what happens to the product and the packaging at the end of its life.
To be B Corp, you have to be doing all of these things actively. It's a pretty rigorous platform that measures to whether or not you actually are walking the walk, you know, not just talking it. You know, I think the most important thing about having a sustainable business is starting with a sustainable product that are having really good sourcing that supports the ecosystem and doesn't extract from it.
I think the challenge is that life is really messy and complicated and unpredictable. Most people don't want to harm the environment. We have all these competing needs in our life, you know, the need for time, the need for taking care of our health, taking care of our families, taking care of ourselves. So I think sometimes the problem can be that doing the more sustainable thing isn't always as accessible.
It costs a lot of money to bring organic food. It'll get less and less over time the more people purchase it, but right now it's a set cost, and you know, unfortunately it is a little steep for a lot of people and out of reach for a lot of people. But you know, obviously my goal in our business has always been, you know, getting our foods in the hands of people who need it the most, right? The most nutrient deficient folks that are out there that are eating the worst foods available to them, and that's just because of the way that our country is designed. Ultimately, our foods can help those people living on the margins so much more, you know, than somebody who's already eating a full diet of organic food.
You either don't have the time or you don't have the resources, or it's really hard to find a plastic-free alternative locally. So I think it's just important to recognize that, and for this movement to really have more momentum, we do need to make it more accessible and make sure that people have these plastic-free alternatives and that they're cost-effective and that they're available locally, and I think that's going to take time. I think people don't realize how much waste they're creating each week. So I think the first step is really just confronting and exploring. I think definitely individuals can spark a larger conversation and inspire others.
More importantly, when a customer comes to me, whether it's a chef ordering from the wholesale company or a customer here at Fish Restaurant, it's so much better when they ask for something that we don't have. Because instead of just saying, no, sorry, it's no, sorry, let me explain why. I know what you're asking for, but this is why we don't have it, right? And I've got hours of stories of why I don't have swordfish on the menu. Now, do you care? I don't know. But if I can get 5 minutes of your time, I'm pretty sure I'm at least going to tell you enough to make you go, wow, I never thought of that. But when we built this restaurant, the philosophy was we're going to know every captain, we're going to know every person that caught this fish, and we're going to tell their story. We're going to tell their story by putting their names on our menu. We're going to tell their story by telling our guests that we know these folks, that they're coming in to drop off the fish. I'm definitely hoping that we see a little bit of a shift where younger people want to go into food production. Food production is not on the top of their I can't wait to become a farmer list. I can't wait to become a fisherman list. I try to incentivize versus you're just a fisherman, let me pay you, get out of here, go catch more fish. Because that's what's going to get younger people into this, to get elevate it up a little bit than just I'm a fisherman or I'm a farmer or I'm a rancher. It's got to be a little bit more than that. It's got to have a little bit of a story behind it.
You know, when I started out with this movement a few years ago, the zero waste movement there wasn't a lot of recognition. It was super niche, and you know, it's taken off even since I've gotten involved. Like I just started an Instagram account because I was excited to share like the little steps I was taking to reduce waste, and it's grown beyond what I could even imagine.
I hope that more and more businesses start to do that. Moving to more sustainable and regenerative practices are no longer seen as a detraction to business, but more as the benefit. So hopefully, you know, there's going to be this groundswell of change that we're going to start seeing, where companies are starting to take notice, and they're going to start to change their practices that benefit all of us. It's starting to happen. I mean, I'm reading it in the paper on a daily basis, which is the first time in my 48 years that I've ever seen it. So I think people are catching on. So there's a lot of hope out there for that.
I think that's really important. I think we need a lot of people involved. I'm really hopeful that it's going to become, you know, more appealing to people as it becomes, you know, more mainstream. We do have these big brands participating and making it accessible to people. So I'm absolutely encouraged by the progress of the movement and super excited and hopeful for what's to come.